Hey everybody, welcome back. Johnny here. I'm a member of the ACG podcast, and there we talk a lot about games. We've talked quite a bit about Death Stranding too, but I have more thoughts. So it's time to let our hair down, metaphorically in my case, and talk a little bit more about the experience, what the game has brought, and a lot of really interesting stuff that comes with it that people may not notice in terms of gratitude and things like that. That I think it's turning a lot of gamers onto some of those mental toolkits that they might not be aware of. And the first thing that I was thinking about is, holy moly, what an example of taking what worked from the first game, but then fixing a lot of the gaps. It's like, you have your barrel with all the 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 gaps through which water is seeping, and you kind of like patch pretty much all of them. Pacing was an issue in the first game. A lot of stuff like that for me felt problematic. In terms of delivery of the story as well, they lost me pretty much early on in the first game, and they do a great job of keeping you interested and kind of doling out interesting bits of the story to intersperse gameplay while also respecting your time to just play the game. Because my feeling in the first game was that a lot of times I just wanted to play the damn game, but I'm getting, hard stuck in these 30-minute cinematics where I have to sit through a whole bunch of nonsense, what felt like nonsense, at the time. And I loved how the characters interact so much more with Sam in this game too. I had this feeling of like disembodied interaction with all the characters in the first game because so much of it was done through holograms. And like the quality was crappy, you could barely see the models and everything. Just so awkward. You never really entered the room with a person. You did in some cases, and cinematics did some of that stuff, but like 90% of your time was spent talking to holograms, and then the rest of it not talking to anybody at all, right? So the interaction is much more interesting, I think, in this game. I would still say that the game is at its lowest when it tries to do combat. And this is sort of a hill I'm willing to die on. I didn't like the combat in the first game. I still don't like it in this one. Now, is it better? Yes, it has improved significantly. You got cooler tools to work with and some better options. But you still don't have a dash, right? So if the boss is like threatening to hit you with this huge attack, really the best you can do is just dive on the ground awkwardly and probably still get hit. Honestly, it's not a very good maneuver anyway. And or you can try to sprint away, but of course when you're fighting bosses, you're usually mired in this black tar that it's molasses, right? You can't move in that thing, you can't run in that thing. So it's so annoying, and it feels like artificial difficulty. Not that the game is hard, by the way. Like in normal mode, it's not a challenging game to play through, but it's the sort of frustration that comes from the helplessness. Like I can see I'm gonna get hit by this attack, and there's close to nothing I can do, and the things I can do don't feel great, don't feel responsive, and feel a bit out of my control. So that's kind of my biggest issue with the game, is that yes, combat is better, but that also means they're trying to do more of it. And I think it's worse off for that. But let's go past the combat. Actually, before we do, one last thing is similar to the first game, the segments where you are locked in a section. So in the first game, you had these segments with Mads Mikkelsen where you would play through a sort of little scenario where you have to kill a bunch of guys, right? And essentially beat this like Call of Duty scenario to proceed with the story. You have the same setup here in this game. And again, I found it utterly annoying and taking me away from the gameplay that I actually wanted to engage with. And instead you have to go through, why me as a porter, as a delivery guy, why do I have to kill 50 armed elite men? I don't know why I emphasized the men part, but it's kind of how I felt. Like, why? It makes no sense to me. And I don't feel like it adds anything to the game, to the story. Would the game be better without all of that? Hard to tell, right? I don't have an A/B thing to test. But for me, those segments didn't add much. I did like the character that they use, but just the gameplay itself kind of fell apart in those times. But everywhere else, when it comes to the moment-to-moment of not only delivering stuff, but the theme of bringing stuff back online, connecting things. For a lot of the game, I've played with an option that limits the amount of structures you see from other players. Because if you start playing, you will quickly notice that you have structures everywhere. Like, you go to one place and before you can ever struggle, you will see 3 bridges connecting things. You will see, a generator maxed. You will see a timefall shelter for you where it's needed. You are coddled. Like your testicles are being coddled. I don't know why I said that, but you get the idea. You're being massaged by all this infrastructure from other players. For me, my best experience was when I turned that down. You have an option to have limited, like only partial. Only some stuff will be there from other players, like ropes, ladders, smaller things like that. And instead, I had to build all of my shit. If I needed a bridge, well, I had to pony up the 1,000 metal units, as an example, right? And that really made it so much more meaningful. And the fact that people liked my bridge was also a sign of pride, like, okay, I am actually helping other people. And at some point in the game, when you've advanced enough, I think it's fun to also turn that feature back up, so you're seeing all the connected tissue, all the stuff that other people have built. But progressing through this game has been such a magical experience of almost like purity. Like, I have this charge. I have to deliver this cargo for that guy to, do his research, whatever narrative, preface you need to feel like it matters. But to me, I felt like if I don't do this, it's not gonna get done. And I can do this. I got the tools. Is it gonna be tough? Yeah, it's gonna be, a struggle. I don't have all these structures. I might get super thirsty on the way there, run out of stamina, out of batteries. But you know what? I'm gonna make it. And that feeling of, just accepting that charge is something almost primal, where you sort of take that on with pride, and then at the end of it, you feel like you did something meaningful. And the fact that the journey is packed with all these emergent things that you don't expect. You're gonna run into some trouble. You're gonna have to work around stuff. It's not gonna go to plan, and then you need to, use your ladder and kind of get creative. All those types of things make it like the journey is really memorable. And like the trite saying goes, it's all about the journey, not the destination. Do I remember like what I delivered or, the end goal? No, I remember all those awesome moments in the journey where I'm in the mud, right? I'm in the shit. And I'm gonna get through this hill, through snow, water, timefall, right? Like all this stuff. And that was really meaningful to me as a player. And I love how they are willing to let you sit in silence. You're going through this hill. There's no music playing. It's you, your packages, and that's it. And for some long stretches of time, it's I think it's really bringing some people into contact with being in silence and being in contemplation. You know, because when you don't have a lot of stuff being thrown at you, your brain is open, isn't it? It's kind of available to contemplate, to think about stuff, to reflect. And those are some awesome moments. This is also why I decided to pointedly not stream this game, because I think the difference when you're yapping on a stream is massive. It removes all these moments of contemplation, self-awareness. It's just a completely different experience. As someone who did stream the first game for some parts of it, I really think that this is an amazing me time experience for everybody out there. And I think it will put you in touch with even just being mindful of yourself and things around you. You're gonna be picking up on things on the scenery that you wouldn't otherwise if you're being overstimulated, and so many things like that. I think we touched on it a little bit in the intro, but gratitude is another thing that I think the game puts you in touch with. Gratitude for the little things, for the one ladder you still have left that now allowed you to get through this final hurdle in your destination. It's really a big deal. I know it's kind of cheesy to talk about gratitude, but gratitude is a toolkit in your life that will allow you to get through some horrible shit and get out the other end. Yeah. As someone who has faced some stuff, like a chronic condition and things like that, and I was down for a time, gratitude was the one thing that really helped me. And I think the game does a good job giving you these little moments of appreciation for things that you do have, showing you the suck, you know, okay, we don't have the infrastructure you would need, but you know what, we have this small thing. Yeah, and makes you really appreciate that. Makes you appreciate the people on the journey with you too, the little moments, exchanges with people, how fleeting everything is. And, you know, we don't know if we're gonna make it that long, right? We're having a crack at it, but at the end of the day, it is about enjoying that journey, the friends we make along the way, and really living the moment, I think, is the sort of takeaway from the game. So I really love the idea of a video game bringing all those things to people who might otherwise be completely alien to these ideas. And even if you play through it and you never think about this, it is there in the background doing work. And I really do think it's connecting people to some of these really important toolkits in life. So I think this game is beautiful. It's girthy. If you're going to be doing some extra stuff like I've been, it's gonna take you a good time. You know, it's gonna take a fair bit to beat. I've got like 50 or 60 hours into it, and I'm still not close to finishing it. And just having a blast, you know, with the journey. Again, I'm not that fussed about where does it end, what is the final destination. I'm here for the journey. And I think they've done an amazing job with it. Big kudos to them for putting this together. I think in some ways it's a little brave to be this self-indulgent in those long moments of silence that otherwise might be forbidden, right? In a more traditional game, I guess. And I love the attention to detail in all the gear logistics, like, you know, the boxes and there is a great amount of detail in all of that, and the graphical design of all the items, the vehicles, the structures, the text. There's something striking about all of it. And I know they do have some amazing graphic designers that have been with Kojima for a long time. And yeah, the quality is just undeniable. And it all works to bring this to a fruitful kind of conclusion, right? It's a culmination of all these efforts in tandem. And really, one thing doesn't work that well without the other, right? One of the reasons I'm that immersed is because of the awesome 3D modeling of everything, and, you know, great character models, rain effects, but then there's also sounds. There is game elements, right, that I'm interacting with that are compelling. It's all of it together that really works so well. And the story in this game is much more interesting too, in my opinion, so that helps as well. But it's funny how, again, the story and the combat, for me, are such small parts of why I enjoy this game. And that's a testament to how good the other parts are, because they stand up on their own, in my opinion. And they do so very strongly. So I hope you enjoyed my little rant, and I hope you enjoy your journey as well. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.